It's certainly been a long time coming, but Star Wars Celebration returned to Japan in April 2025. The last time the event came to Japan was way back in 2008. Now, actually, I was lucky enough to be living here and also be able to attend. So today, I kind of want to just take a look at Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025, what it had to offer, and also give you guys a bit of a retrospective on the 2008 iteration. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Danny from the Famicast here. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Sound off in the comments down below, and we may read it out on our bi-weekly show called the Famicast. Of course, you can find this in written form over on our website, thefamicast.com. Special shout out to our awesome patrons for their support and putting up with me. In today's video, we're taking a look at Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 at the general experience, cosplayers, how the 2008 Celebration Japan stacks up, and a whole lot more. Just for a recap, or in case you don't know, Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 took place from Friday, April 18th until Sunday, April 20th. Now, it was 8,298 yen for a single day entry for adults for tickets, or you could get a 3-day pass that was 23,808 yen. There were also higher grades of tickets that you could purchase, but, I just wanted to get in. So I just stuck with, just this 1-day pass that it's all I could do. Now, Celebration Japan this year was also the biggest international Star Wars celebration ever, as it drew in over 105,000 people from over 125 countries. There were 26 hours of programming across the main stages and 100 hours of fan panels and podcasts. I mean, needless to say, it was definitely a pretty huge outing. I won't get into many, or if any, of the announcements that were made over the 3-day event, as I think that's been pretty much covered extensively elsewhere. Now, that, and I just really didn't get into any of the main panels and autograph sessions. I attended the show, like I said, just for 1 day. That was on Saturday, April 19th, and bought my ticket like a year prior. While I know a lot of people out there complaining about the crowds, honestly, I really didn't feel it was that bad. Having over 100,000 people at any event is a huge inconvenience for a number of reasons. I get that. Long lines, congestion on the show floor, these kinds of things can be a bit annoying. Having been to Tokyo Game Show multiple times over the years, an event that can draw up to 100,000 people or more per day, this seemed actually quite tame compared to that. I mean, again, there were a lot of people, but it really didn't have any effect on my experience in a negative aspect. While I didn't really attend any of the panels, there were still a number of cool things to do on the floor. Now, the whole Japanese theme meshed with Star Wars was also really great to see, especially in the anime and manga pavilion. There were a lot of displays for Star Wars Vision shows, including costumes, art, and more here. On top of that, there was also this really cool interactive commercial, I guess you could say, for lack of better words, that actually featured some cool manga and stuff in like this special room on the show floor. This had like these manga panels being displayed in like this 360-degree fashion. It was just really cool to see in person. I didn't get any pictures or video of that, and quite frankly, I think this is something that had to be experienced to get the whole effect. Overall, though, really cool stuff that was available on the show floor. While the main draw for most was likely the official Celebration store, the lines were completely packed, so I honestly just kind of gave up on that idea of getting anything from there. Now, when purchasing the ticket a year before the event, attendees were able to pick up official merch that way, so I opted at the time to get like a magnet with the logo of the event. Outside of that, though, there were numerous vendors at the show outside of the Celebration stuff that were selling books, toys, and a variety of other kinds of merch. And I was really happy to find some shops that sold retro action figures. Now, while some of the figures from the 70s and 80s were actually selling for quite a bit of money, I was actually able to purchase some of the reasonably priced toys from like the 1990s era Power of the Force line, which released when I was a kid. Did I overspend on them? Yeah, probably, but yeah, oh well. There was a pretty big physical showcase for upcoming figures from Hasbro, including their retro lineup, Hot Toys, and more. Now, unless I missed something here, I think the Hasbro stuff was just there for display purposes only, while Hot Toys and SH Figure Arts had stuff for sale. Now, some of the Hot Toys and Figure Arts stuff is a bit out of my price range. I really did like the retro lineup. And the look of some of the upcoming Black Series figures from Hasbro. Now, again, it was just a shame that none, or well, not much, of that stuff was available to buy. Celebration Japan had a fun-themed menu for both food and drinks. I didn't get to try everything on the menu, but I did actually manage to try the Wookiee Yakisoba, which is shaped just like Chewbacca, the Wagyu Speeder Skewer, Grogu's Delight, and the It's a Trap Takoyaki. Now, the takoyaki kind of surprised me on this because there was one of them in the thing that, well, if you're lucky enough to try it, that was pretty spicy. You can find these kind of games with various food items and stuff like this at restaurants here in Japan, like at pubs and stuff like that. It's always kind of fun when you're doing that with friends. And maybe in this case too. It was just me and my wife, so I was the guy that had the bad luck there. Anyways, overall though, I thought the food here, yeah, it's a bit pricey, but I thought the quality was actually pretty decent. The Wagyu speeder bike thing and the chicken for Grogu's Delight was actually pretty great. And yeah, I thought this was just a fun addition to the show. To make things easier for ourselves, my wife and I hit the food court early to avoid the crowds. I think it was like 10:30. Now, according to some other fans that I chatted with there, the wait times on the first day were absolutely insane. They've had to wait up to like an hour or two to get their food. And it wasn't my first rodeo, so I knew that if we wanted to eat something, we'd have to get there early to have our choice of food and also to avoid the lines. It was a pretty cool setup there too, with Imperial and Rebel logos on the in traditional style Japanese lanterns. It was just a really nice touch. Yeah, I hope those of you that got to try it, hope you didn't have to wait too long. But yeah, it was a really cool setup. I think this goes without saying, but the cosplayers at Star Wars Celebration Japan were on point. You can clearly tell that a lot of love, passion, and thought went into these. Now, I was thoroughly impressed by an almost perfect old man Luke cosplayer. There's also a Pedro Pascal look-alike dressed as, the Mandalorian. There was a freaking Amanaman out there as well. If you don't know what that is, I don't know what to tell you, but if you do know what that is, sound off in the comments. That's awesome. And there's even George Lucas there himself. Yeah, but anyways, these are just a few of my favorites. I mean, seriously though, it's people like these that make big events like this even more awesome. So if you're cosplaying at the event or do it elsewhere, kudos to your dedication and passion for the series. You guys rock. It feels like a lifetime ago for me, and I guess it kind of was, but Star Wars Celebration back in 2008 had a completely different feel to it. At the time, the only thing new that Star Wars had going for it was the Clone Wars movie and the upcoming television series. For Japan in 2008, the series was actually celebrating its 30th anniversary. Now, Dave Filoni was even there, and he showed up to talk about the new Clone Wars stuff, and so were some other stars from both the original and prequel trilogies. Jake Lloyd, Anthony Daniels, I think David Prowse was there too. Daniel Logan, a young Boba Fett. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Jeremy Bulloch, the original Boba Fett, and Mark freaking Hamill was there too, and a few other people as well. Now, since this was pretty much a pre-smartphone era, for Japan, I really didn't get to take any videos of the event, but I did manage to snap quite a few pictures on my one day there on the show floor with my digital camera. For some background on the event itself, it took place on Saturday, July 19th until Monday, July 21st, which was a national holiday, Marine Day. Anyways, regular tickets at the time ran for 4,000 yen a head for adults, 2,000 yen for tickets. But there were also options for a Yoda premium ticket for 22,000 yen and a Vader premium ticket for 7,500 yen. Just like probably every other Star Wars celebration, including the ones that are going on now, panels took place on the show floor and were held in quite a different manner than what they are these days. Now, for 2025 here in Japan, and probably, like I said, the other ones too, you have to register in advance for a limited number of seats and like all this type of stuff. But back then, you could just line up, sit down, and check things out. Now, the one I remember the most from 2008 featured Steve Sansweet interviewing Mark Hamill. And I'm sure you can probably find a clip of this somewhere out there, but one of the things I remember most was how Hamill was talking about how he used to live in Japan, like on the military base in Yokosuka. I think that's what he said. This is again coming from memory. And also him pitching like this new random comic book project that I don't think ever came to fruition. Oh, and yeah, he would also talk for way too long and not give the translator a chance to catch up and share what he was trying to say to the Japanese speakers in the audience. That was a little bit funny, but probably a little bit annoying for the Japanese fans there. Now, I still kick myself for not throwing down the 12,000 yen to meet Mark and get his autograph. Now, unlike these days, the price you paid at the time included an autograph and you could just take a photo with the actor. It was fine as long as they said it was okay. Now, I managed to get an autograph and meet Jeremy Bulloch, the original Boba Fett, and Amy Allen, or Ayla Secura, the Blue Twilight Jedi in the prequels. Now, not only that, but I swear that I saw Daniel Logan at McDonald's near the venue afterwards. Since I wasn't sure, and also since there were a lot of non-Japanese people wandering around, I didn't work up the courage to say anything just in case I was wrong. I kind of, again, with that, I kind of kicked myself for it. It would have been kind of a weird story. Well, here it is. It's still a weird story, but I just didn't get to talk to him. Now, anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say here is, compared to 2025, I think Celebration Japan in 2008 was just a bit more of a subdued type of event. And even if you look at the numbers here too, the Celebration Japan in 2008 drew in about 17,000 fans, and it felt like that too. Yeah, it's just completely different. Star Wars and the fandom has definitely changed a lot since then. It was great to see Star Wars Celebration make its return to Japan during a time when Star Wars was actually relevant. Back in 2008, the event felt kind of like a throwaway, the last breath of a dying franchise that was doing very little to evolve. Now, fast forward to now, and the series is alive, in full swing, to the delight and dismay of many fans. Now, despite being a tad crowded, I had a pretty great time just hanging out and seeing what was on display at the show, generally speaking. Now, I'm looking forward to the next Celebration Japan. Hopefully, we won't have to wait another 17 years for one here. But let's go ahead and turn things over to you guys. Did you attend Star Wars Celebration Japan in 2025? What did you think of it? Or did you just stick to checking out things from afar from the internet? Did you check out Star Wars Celebration Japan back in 2008? Anything? What kind of announcements were you excited about from this one? Any of that type of stuff? Sound off in the comments down below. We'd definitely love to hear from you. As always, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you like what you see here, feel free to drop this video a like. If you feel that we've earned it, consider dropping us a sub. And if for some reason you need more of the Famicast in your life, consider supporting us on Patreon for ad-free videos and exclusive podcasts for as little as $1 a month. Now be sure to keep it locked here to the Famicast for reviews, our bi-weekly podcasts, looks at cool Japan exclusive events like this, and a whole lot more. Again, this is Danny from the Famicast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you later.